Hello everybody and welcome back to another video for the day. We are heading back into r/AmITheDevil, and if you guys would love to be absolutely amazing, show your support and see more videos like this one in the near future, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below to start up them wholesome internet discussions, and if you have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on them notifications. And also, if you guys would like to save 10% on your next order of gamer subs, use code Tommy at checkout, or click the link down below. It will automatically apply the discount to your transaction, and it helps support the channel. Thank you. F22, my BF, M21, didn't give me a Valentine's Day gift. I'm honestly upset. Are my feelings valid? I am super confused right now. My boyfriend lost his childhood friend last week, and I know that he is still grieving. But here's the thing. It was Valentine's Day last, and as his girlfriend, I was expecting some kind of gift or acknowledgement from him. Even something small would have been enough. To be honest, I have my own money, and financially, I'm more stable than him. Since I have a small business. I get that he is still in college and doesn't have a job yet, so I'm not expecting much. But what hurt me was that he didn't get me anything. Not even a small gift. I gave him something, though. And to make things worse, he didn't even post about me on social media until late at night, since I talked about it. And when he posted it, it was just an old picture of us with no caption. I expressed my feelings to him, and he said that he was tight on a budget. But to be honest, I felt like that was just an excuse, since I know he has money way back before. Also, he had been planning to visit his friend's funeral in Provence. We're in Manila. And he couldn't go because he couldn't borrow money. The next day, he got some money, but instead of getting me a belated gift, he spent it on drinks with friends. That is what really hurt me. We'd talk about how I was feeling the night before, and I felt like he wasn't making an effort to make things right. Now I'm wondering if I'm being selfish, or if my feelings are valid. I feel like I've been patient and understanding, considering he's grieving and all, but at the same time, I feel like I deserve some kind of acknowledgement and effort for him. I don't know what to do, or how to process my emotions right now. I'm hoping someone can offer some perspective or advice. I can tell you this right now, they're gonna offer it, you ain't gonna like it though. You know, it makes me kinda wonder, when your boyfriend's childhood friend passed, did you do anything at all to help make sure that he was feeling alright? No consoling, no comforting, no nothing? Because the way that you got this going makes me think you didn't think a single lick of sense into any of those. Like, dude lost a person that he grew up with, and you're out here wondering, oh, well, you should have still gotten me a Valentine's Day gift. Come on, I got you something. Look, if you lost a loved one, would you be a little distraught? A little upset in the head? Yeah, honestly, I would. I don't know why you're not. You're thinking that you're kind of invincible from this stuff? No, I can guarantee you, this is going to be the same person that will have the same thing happen to them and then expect to be treated fairly. And a little bit of the newsflash for Mr. Dingus here. Relationships are a little more than material things. And if that's not really clicking to you, ma'am, then you know what? I'll go pre-order the golden shovel for you. That, and on top of the fact, with your boyfriend being 21, somebody mentioned out in the comments, is likely that whatever was the reason that their childhood friend passed was never a pleasant thing. If women can afford to be picky, why do they often end up picking absolute losers? Not charming, attractive men who are secretly scumbags, but so often guys who are waving more red flags than a Mayday parade, which should be obvious to anyone with anything between their ears. I could understand women being ruthless and picky if they were all vying for the top echelon of men, but I a 6'5", good-looking, interesting, and respectful guy, who told you that, have been stood up on a second date by a woman who wound up dating an older, balding single dad with a fat gut who goes on unhinged racist rants on social media and posts all sorts of RWNJ conspiracies. So not only is he ugly as S on the outside, but the inside as well. I was wondering, what the heck did I do wrong? She seemed like a sensitive person, so maybe unwittingly offended her somehow. When I saw her with him on social media, I laughed like a maniac, like Walt at the end of Crawl Space, and how twisted the whole thing was. I'm not everyone's cup of prune juice, and I accept that. And I know there are a lot of damaged women out there with daddy issues who aren't even capable of maintaining a healthy relationship, or on some level don't believe they deserve one. And until they can work through their issues, they are destined to be a moth flying into a flame. I know a lot of smart people are susceptible to manipulation as well, even if they've been manipulated before. But many of these guys they're doing for aren't exactly charismatic, manipulative masterminds. Some of them I know are freaking boneheads, and there is nothing charming about them. Obviously, they have some kind of appeal with these women, but it is mysterious to me. And it doesn't just apply to damaged, uneducated women. One of my attractive, well-educated, otherwise intelligent female friends comes from a good family, but she ended up dating a shorter, average-looking guy who treated her like dog dookie, tormented her, and tried to turn her against her friends. Then, at a party, we saw him slam her head against the wall, and several of us jumped in and beat the dookie out of him. She actually sided with him and got contact with us until she came to her senses and got away from him. Women like her could have their pick of the litter, and they settle for some rabid little runt scum like that. Do they know on some level that they are making a foolish decision, just as we know we shouldn't go out and drink the night before work, but we've all done it anyways? Meanwhile, good guys are getting dropped like a hot coal for the smallest misstep. Over sending one too many messages, that when they get excited about a topic, or making a joke that gets misinterpreted as something offensive, or something trifling that gives her the dreaded ick. Even if I understand on some level and why this happens, I will never completely wrap my mind around it. I'm just venting here, but I'm sure that some of you can relate.
Nope, not exactly. You're just upset because you're not everybody's best decision, and God forbid you happen to have people that aren't absolutely falling head over heels for you, and that's what you're getting absolutely nuclear over, right?
My 36F best friend 35M is in a bad relationship, but he moved away and I don't know how to help him. Throwaway account because she's probably spying on me. I, 35F, met my best friend of 10 years. Let's call him Tyler, 35M. When he was in music school and we were waiting tables together. We hooked up for a few months, but decided that we were better off being friends. When he graduated, we decided to get a place together. We still hooked up casually until both of us got in serious relationships. When our lease was up, he moved in with his then-girlfriend. That didn't work out. They had a terrible breakup, and Tyler was devastated. I wanted him to come stay with me, but then his band booked a summer gig at a beach town about 7 hours away. He didn't want to move away, but he had no choice. His lead singer was friends with current girlfriend, let's call her Sydney, for years, but Tyler didn't meet her until halfway through the summer. She is significantly older, almost 50. To be fair, she doesn't look or act it, but
Really? He assured me it was casual, but right away I didn't trust her. My plans for Labor Day weekend fell apart at the last minute, so my boyfriend and I decided to go visit Tyler. At first, he said that we were welcome to stay at Sydney's. He had a house in another beach town about 30 minutes away, but he was staying with her that weekend because they had plans. His band ended up booking gigs out of town for the first 2 nights that we would be there. He called and said that he wasn't going to be around, so it would be better if we came 1 day later and stayed at his place instead, saying that the beach house there was just as nice. I was floored. My best friend had never treated me this way. I told him that we just wouldn't come if we weren't welcome. After a few days of arguing, we agreed to come a day later and stay at his house. But I made it clear that Sydney was so rude to uninvite us, and I had no interest in meeting her. He actually tried to defend her, saying that it wasn't her. He just couldn't ask her to drop everything to entertain us all weekend when he wasn't even going to be there. It was already becoming clear how controlling she was. Since Tyler wasn't getting back until late at night, the plan, clearly her plan, was for us to meet them next morning at a brunch event. When we arrived, they were already at a table full of people eating and drinking Bloody Marys. It was clear that Sydney was expecting us to join them, but we were not there to hang out with people that we would never see again after he moved home. I pulled Tyler aside and said my boyfriend was uncomfortable with their friends wearing bikinis and funny costumes, and we were going to sit at a table across the room. Sydney was not happy that he left them to come sit with us. Tyler was visibly upset that she was being so awful. He was so distracted that he barely listened when I was trying to fill him in on everything that he missed over the summer. When the event started and it was getting really crowded, I said we needed to go somewhere quiet so that we could have an actual conversation. We found a diner down the street that wasn't loud or crowded, and I finally got to catch him up on everything that we had been doing. It wasn't enough that Sydney tried to ruin our day, but that night she wanted to go see her friend's band playing one town over. Tyler took her side, saying that he never gets to see other bands because he's always playing. We had no choice but to go. When we got there, I followed Sydney into the bathroom to warn her that he was on the rebound and couldn't handle a relationship. She blew me off, saying that she had no agenda and they were both on the same page, as if she knew my best friend better than me. My boyfriend did not like the band, and after the first set, I told Tyler that we had had enough. Sydney offered to pay for an Uber so that she didn't have to leave. Huge red flag. I told Tyler that just because she was older and successful, he shouldn't let her control him with money. And we were his guests, so he needed to drive us to where we were staying. Sydney refused to leave and said that she would just ride home with the band. Again, no manners, but I was glad to have the chance to talk to him about how manipulative and entitled that she was acting, and how worried I was. He defended her again, saying that they'd had these plans for weeks. I said that she should show some more respect for the best friend who had driven all this way, and I was right about not wanting to meet her. He was supposed to move home when his lease was up, but his band booked a few more gigs, so Sydney asked him to stay at her house. So much for having no agenda. When he finally moved home about 3 weeks later, I thought their summer fling was over, but it turns out that she had invited him on a trip to the Caribbean with some friends, and he had invited her to come visit him for a few days. But she was going to Europe again in a month, and all the times before that, she could visit. I already had plans with Tyler, and he took her side again, asking if we could reschedule. But I told him that he had already blown me off for her once by letting her dictate everything when we visited, and I wouldn't put up with it again. He didn't mention her for a while after that, so I thought that I had gotten through to him. But a few months later, his band started playing in the city that she lived in, not the beach. I guess the lead singer called her and she invited the band to stay with her. I told Tyler to get a hotel room so that she couldn't start her BS again, but he said that he could handle it. It was supposed to be for the weekend, but he didn't come home for a week. It's not like him to not check in. Suddenly, the Caribbean drip was back on. I was really worried at that point, but I was not prepared for what happened next. The other couples had issues with the beer virus test, so it was just the two of them. A little too convenient. I'm not sure if there was ever a group going. I think this is when Tyler got confused and started thinking of it as a real relationship with a future. When they first got there, Tyler was texting me back the normal amount, but soon his text came back slower and slower. His ex had posted some nasty tweets about Sydney's age. I thought he should know that I sent him screenshots, laughing about how I was looking forward to their feud. He didn't respond until the next day. Then he said it wasn't a feud. It was his ex being jealous and ridiculous, and Sydney had nothing to do with it. I said semantics, but she didn't respond. When I texted him the next day, he told me several gigs were canceled because of a blizzard, so they were staying an extra week, and he would talk to me when he got home from vacation. That's when I knew that he was not okay. My best friend had always been there for me, and now I felt like I couldn't reach out about anything going on with me. Sydney was clearly threatened by our relationship, because he would never do that on his own. When he finally got back, he told me that Sydney was coming to our city with their beach friends in 10 days to see a band reunion. She claims that she bought her plane tickets during the time that they weren't talking, but it was obviously a ploy to get him back. He invited her to stay with him after the weekend so he could introduce her to his parents and show her around our city. Obviously, her plan worked. His band went back on the road, so I didn't see him for another week. We made plans to go out, but I got called into work. He said that he had plans to Zoom with Sydney to plan their trip. Since she was arriving that weekend and he'd canceled on her twice to keep plans with me, I was livid, but I didn't let on. I calmly explained that I needed him. I hadn't talked to him in weeks, and it was really important that I get to spend some time with my best friend. When he got to my place, he said that he could only stay out for a couple of drinks. Then he was going home to Zoom with her. I asked what she wanted that was so important, and he mumbled about changing her plane ticket, coordinating dinner with his parents, and making arrangements for anything else they were going to do. This was the last straw. I started screaming that Sydney was a grown woman who shouldn't need him to hold her hand, and she was blatantly manipulating him and isolating him from his friends as a sign of torment. I said I knew that he would never tell me not to text him, and I knew that she made him say it. She had probably stolen his phone, and she was obviously a complete nutjob who couldn't take a hint. He didn't defend her, he just apologized and asked why I didn't text him if I needed him. As if I would do that, when he clearly had better things to do. We went to a bar and I finally got to tell him everything going on with me, and I forbid him to look at his phone. If she can do it, I can do it. We ended up drinking heavily, and I made him sleep at my house instead of driving home. The next morning, he freaked out because he missed several texts from her. I guess she still thought her Zoom date was happening. I got him to calm down, assuring him that he was better off without her, and he should let this be a clean break. I checked on him in the next afternoon, and he was even more upset. Sydney told him that she was sticking to her original plans with her friends and ended things with him. He had sent her flowers, but she refused to go to the door. She's a middle-aged woman, and she's freaking out because he didn't call when she wanted him to. I sent him a few articles about emotional redacted and made him promise to read them. It's all I could think to do. I offered to hang out that weekend so he wouldn't mope around. But when I got off of work, he didn't text me back a while back. I had convinced him to share his location with me because he was really drunk and I was worried about him. He never turned it off, so I could see that he was at a hotel near the concert venue. He was clearly with her. When he finally got back to his place, I called and asked what he did the night before. He had the nerve to lie and say nothing. I gave him another chance and asked if he had stayed in all night. He said yes. This was just too much. I went off at him, telling him that I could see that he was with Sydney, and he was obviously too embarrassed to admit it. I said best friends don't lie to each other, and he had become someone that I didn't want to know. Someone who would choose money and trips and partying over a 10-year friendship. He tried to apologize, but I told him that I wasn't going to put up with this disrespect. I said our friendship was over and hung up. I thought that he would call me back, but he didn't. So I texted him, saying again that I'm sorry, but I can't watch him destroy his life over someone like her. He responded by unsharing his location. I did a lot of journaling, getting my feelings out, how much he meant to me, how he was always there for me, and I could tell him anything. How hurt I was that my best friend of 10 years was treating me like this. How horrified I was that he was pursuing a relationship with such an awful person and choosing her over me. When I got it all out, I sent it to him with a series of texts. No response. I blocked them both on Facebook, which turned out to be a mistake, because both of their pages are private, so when I unblocked them, I couldn't see their page to know what they were up to. I reblocked her so that she couldn't spy on me. Trust me, she's not. But I left the door open for him to reach out to me. Trust me, he won't. I texted a few more times, but got nothing. No surprise there. Sydney had clearly forbidden him from apologizing. Nope. I heard, though, through mutual friends, that his band played another tour and she had gone with him. And he was planning to live with her at the beach that summer. His band broke up, but he got a job at her friend's bar, which led him to joining another band. I had some friends text him to intervene. One of them he ignored completely, and the other reported back that Tyler told her that our friendship was over, that he didn't do it, but it was for the best. I was devastated that he wasn't even willing to fight for me. I sent him another text, saying that we just had a fight. The friendship didn't have to be over, and we worked it out. We could work it out. I told him I missed my best friend, talking to him, and all the fun that we had, but she had obviously made him choose. I sent him one more text saying that I was worried that he had been brainwashed, and to please let me help him get his own life back. No response. It has been months since I sent that last text. His new band doesn't play in our city, but he brings her home for the holidays and other events. People tell me that when they see them out, but obviously she is too threatened to let him contact his old friends. He's completely isolated now. Reaching out to his family won't help. I don't really know them. They have accepted her into their lives because they clearly don't see her for who she is. Has anyone experienced this? Is he too far gone? Do I have to wait for him to hit rock bottom before I can get back my best friend? Okay, it's a bit of a bad thing to try to bash somebody for dating somebody that happens to be older than them. Like, the older you get, the older and the more you realize that 15 years age difference isn't really that much. And really, the more it just sounds like you wanted to date your best friend Meanwhile, you did a little bit of a fling, you kind of agreed that, okay, let's be friends, and then for some reason, when they just wanted to go and be in a relationship on their own, you had a bit of a problem with that, and now you're calling the significant other the control freak.
The family approves of them, but I don't.
Ah, yes, you know, if it's one person versus 5 different individuals, yeah, no, they're very much going to not be as clairvoyant as you now, are they? But with that, that is going to have to be with the video. If you guys would love to be absolutely amazing, show your support and see more videos like this one in the near future, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below to start up them wholesome internet discussions, and if you guys have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on them notifications. I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye!